All right, it's Friday night, everybody. Let's talk about some Adventure Time.
When the cool kids talk about Adventure Time
Nothing
on a Friday night. We got nothing else to
Friday
do.
night. I'm home alone. I'm cracking open this beer, and we're gonna talk cartoons.
I actually have plans to go eat some soup and play board games with some friends after this.
Oh, okay. I was maybe gonna drink.
Crazy Friday night.
I've got two kitties in my room with me right now. We're having a party over here.
All right.
Anyway. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is Adventure Twins. This is a podcast where two twins talk about one of our favorite shows, Adventure Time. I'm Jacob.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 10, Memories of Boom Boom Mountain. This episode was This episode was released on May 3rd, 2010, written by Bert Yon and Sean Jimenez. In this episode, Finn tries to find a compromise between a village of roughhousers in a mountain that doesn't want to see it.
That's right, and Finn really struggles to find a way to help everybody. It's revealed pretty early on into the episode that due to Finn's traumatic backstory and all the trauma he's been through, he has sworn an oath to always help everybody, which, as we know, that isn't always possible because you can't do something that pleases everybody, and that's a tough lesson that Finn has to learn. Yet somehow he keeps at it, and he finds ways to go between the mountain and the villagers and all these other wacky characters that come out with their own problems.
Yeah.
And this episode's all over the place, but it's a lot of fun. So there's not like a succinct plot order.
Yeah,
we might hit it as we talk about it, but
the big sort of finale is that as Finn tries to find solutions and each one has its own different problems attached, he ends up having to create this like massive, elaborate Rube Goldberg type solution that is supposed to fix everyone's problems. Because you've got you have the roughhousers who want to keep roughhousing, and you have the mountain who doesn't want to see it. And they're like, well, we can't just turn him around because the mountain behind him wants to see him. And then you've got, some fish who want the flies away from their dead mom. And then you've got an old man made of coal who thinks everything's too loud.
There's this naked old guy who's naked, and that's his problem. They've got, a frog who stole the weird thing's triangles, but the weird thing stole the frog's plum.
Swiped
or something
my
like that.
plums.
They swiped my plum.
Yeah, so you got all these
And the mushrooms who want to dance.
Oh, the mushrooms want to dance.
The mushrooms who want to dance, but it's too loud for the old man. So
And there's the dragon that...
The butt itches on the dragon.
It's butt itches, that's right, yeah.
And then there's the cactus who wants to pollinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there are all these different problems, and obviously a lot of them conflict with each other to the point that the solution for one is actually the detriment of the other, and Finn gets quickly overwhelmed trying to help everybody because there's just too many wacky, crazy things going on.
It's too kooky. Too kooky, crazy, spooky. Kooky.
It's ooky booky kooky.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
I think this is honestly, this is such an iconic episode for me. I remember they advertised this one a lot. It's very funny. There's so many funny little bits and jokes and one-liners and characters throughout the whole episode. It's I can't even hit every single funny thing that happens.
Yeah.
But this is also a big one because I think it's the first kind of a lore episode because we get to see Kid Finn, and we also get Jake's parents. And so you kind of get some cool backstory going on finally.
Yeah, I also really like this one. The sort of creative problem solving and, the answer to things, these sort of dilemmas being such a unique sort of thing is I don't know, it's kind of the epitome of what Adventure Time is about, which is just kind of outlandish situations with even crazier solutions, but kind of in a fantasy sort of setting. And I like that. It's very creative. I love the big finale of how everything's get solved.
Yeah, it's pretty creative.
Yeah, I really like this one.
I think it's fun because there's a couple yes, it's funny and silly and fantasy and totally nonsense, but there's the two big lessons of one, you can't make everybody happy. Because obviously you can't find one solution that is going to please everybody. That's just not feasible. And then also there's kind of the detriment of being a people pleaser because we see Finn has made this oath to himself to always help everybody no matter what, and you can see that it's like clearly to his detriment, and so it's eating at him that he can't help everybody. And that's like something you have to acknowledge within yourself, is you can't always focus on other people, and it's not selfish to only think to take care of yourself too. It's a little thing called self-care. Yeah.
Wise words.
Wise
And of
words.
course, this
is our
episode
self-care
is sponsored
podcast.
sponsored by BetterHelp. No, it's not. If they want to give us money, sure, but whatever.
I mean, I don't need the money, but
We'll take
nice,
it.
be
Sponsor
nice.
us. We'll promote anything.
we need money to make some stickers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sponsor our stickers. Honestly, I could probably just print stickers. It's not like
Probably
they're that
just make
expensive.
stickers. It's probably not that hard.
Yeah, I went to a
Problem
sticker
is
fair.
Who would we give them to? All 8 people who listen to the
Our
podcast?
fans. I'll just start slapping them
fans.
on.
That number
dive bar
number's
bathrooms.
increased. It used to be 5, now it's 8.
Yeah, I'll just start slapping them on dive bar bathrooms. On like,
There you
I
go.
see them a lot in like if you go to bars on like the paper towel dispensers covered in stickers.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll start throwing them around. Get people to watch the show or listen to it. You can't
Or
watch us.
listen. You can watch a still image of our logo designed by our good friend Jet.
Yes.
Bless you.
Um,
Any fun
Anyway,
things you noticed in the
a lot.
episode? There's
I-
a lot.
yeah, this episode there's so much going on. I really, really like the way this episode starts. It just kind of opens right into a sort of tavern brawl with a bunch of Viking guys, which is something I really love about the show. Is it just drops you right into the middle of something. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You don't need a ton of backstory of like incentives. They're just kind of doing stuff.
Yeah. I like one of the weird Viking dudes was like a hybrid goat man that Jake
Yeah.
was fighting. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I noted him. Of like, they're not like, well, there's obviously not humans, but they're not even like humanoid half the time. They're just like weird like creature dudes.
Cronenbergs. Yeah, they're just, like,
Cronenbergs, yeah.
they're just guys.
Oogly googlies.
Yeah, so when they're fighting, Finn starts hearing someone cry, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go check on him. Whatever. I always have to help anyone in trouble." And then he reveals his tragic backstory, and it cuts to this, and you see Finn as a baby, and it's this time when he was a baby, and then he made boom boom on a leaf, and then he fell in the boom boom and got stuck to the leaf, and he cried and cried, and no one was there to help him.
Yeah, and when they say boom boom, it makes like a boom boom, which is
Yeah.
always funny. And yeah, there's like, God, it's like there's like a ladybug woman and her son walking by, and they're like, I forget exactly what they said. I think you wrote down the quote. I didn't. Maybe. Oh, that kid's got problems.
Yeah, that kid's got problems.
Yeah,
That's it.
That kid's got problems. Yeah, I wrote it down.
So he has to help anyone who's got problems. Because that time a ladybug said that kid's got problems in reference to him as a naked baby falling in his own boom boom and getting stuck to a leaf.
Boom, boom. I like when the mountain's is crying. They go to visit. And the mountain is crying boulders. I thought that was kind of funny. Like
Yeah. He's got rock tears. I like that one.
Yeah.
And he gets up to the
So-
mountain, and he's like, "Oh, you're just upset because you wish you could roughhouse, but you can't because you're stuck up here as a mountain." And so he starts just like immediately trying to wrestle with a mountain. And Jake says, "Hit him with a boulder, then hit him with another rock." I like that little line.
Yeah. So the boulder is upset because he has to watch them roughhouse, and so Finn tries to come up with a way to let the Viking, or he asks them to stop roughhousing, but they don't want to because that's what they do for fun. So he comes up with a way to make them not beat each other up by attaching like cute soft animals to their hands and stuff. So that when they beat each other up, like they make funny like a duck sounds or rat sounds, or the one has a cat strapped to his head and makes like cute meowing sounds. And so it's like, oh, soft and playful, so it doesn't matter anymore.
It's like one of those like baby toy keyboards, but all of the keys make different animal noises. Yeah, so they've just got like fists just covered in a bunch of rats that have been tied together, and they're just beating it like Hulk hands just made of live rats. And it's great. And every time they hit each other, they make little squeaks.
It's really funny. It's very cute. But of course, that doesn't please the mountain. The mountain very quickly points out it's like now they're just beating the animals up. They're hitting the animals against things. Like obviously that doesn't work. This is such a stupid idea when you think about it.
Oh, there's a line in there, and I noted this one down. I think Jake is always a little hesitant of the mountain and thinks he's just crazy. So it's like, oh, we just got to appease him because he's crazy. But he says this guy seems like a real nut job, which was in a lot of the advertisements for the show. So it's one of those lines that's like the delivery's kind of stuck into my head is just cutting out that line and making it like solo.
I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, well,
Those ads, yeah.
yeah, this guy seems like a real nut job. There's a dude with alligators just tied to his arms. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, they go back down to the Vikings, and they've evolved from like soft, like cute, cuddly cats and little ducks and stuff. Like the dude's arms are wrapped with crocodiles or snakes and stuff, and no longer are the sound effects like meows or little squeaks. It's back to punching sounds, and so they're like fucking like beating on each other with these animals. It's so funny.
Fish strapped to their face and are just like headbutting everything.
I mean, they're hardcore beating the crap out of each other with these animals. It's intense.
Yeah. I like this one. This one's silly.
I like this one too.
Yeah.
I like when they the next solution of like they start patting each other, like rubbing each other a little bit, and they rub each other raw.
Yeah. They discover that petting each other is much more humane, and they love to pet each other, but they all just they rub themselves totally raw to the point they get like scratchy and irritated.
Around this part of the episode, did you see the snail?
I did see the snail. Yeah, everyone's petting each other, and it cuts to Jake, who is like getting pet by all sorts of different animals, and there's a little snail right in the front waving at the audience.
Yeah, I know we talked about this. Well, I guess that was the last time. This is another re-recording because somebody forgot to download the last time we recorded this.
Yeah, I forgot.
It could have been anybody.
Button.
Yeah, didn't hit the save
And not
button.
me. Someone forgot to.
Somebody.
hit
I don't know who it was. Yeah, somebody did it though.
So.
But the little animals that were hanging out with Jake and petting him, do you think they're in any way connected to Tree Trunks or Mr. Pig? Because there is an episode where you get to see like Tree Trunk's old boyfriend, and they're all these like weird small animals that live in like a weird small town. And I know you have no recollection of this episode, but I swear this is a thing.
Last time we recorded this episode, you brought this up, and I had no idea what you're talking about. And that has not changed in the, 5 days. I still have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it's like season 8 or 9. Like, it's really late into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's late. I vaguely remember it.
A bunch of actual animals that aren't, I don't know, fake made-up animals or whatever. Or weird talking ones, just, real animals.
Like turtle ducks. Yeah.
Like turtle ducks, yeah, or a flying bison.
Yeah, some nonsense thing. Or bears. What the hell's a bear? I like when all those different things are coming out with problems. The one is an old prospector, but he's made of coal. I kind of wonder, what is he prospecting or what is he digging? Maybe
mines.
for human minds.
Humans.
It's like the gingerbread man. It's like, is his house made of skin or is he made of house?
Made of house. He screams where he does not know. I like to imagine a big cave made of flesh. Human
I feel
flesh.
like that's
like the flesh wall from
like the
Tree
flesh
Trunks.
wall.
It all comes back to Tree Trunks.
Isn't she in? No, she's in a different episode that we will talk about later.
Yeah.
Tree Trunks.
Oh, so eventually it cuts back to Finn's backstory, and you realize that Finn was adopted by Jake's parents, and so you get to see Jake's parents for the first time, and they look exactly like Jake, except that his mom is wearing a hat with a flower on it, and his dad is wearing a fedora, and they both speak in this sort of mid-Atlantic newspaper reporter voice.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because
and
all
they-
these towns say, oh, that's more of like an old oil
that's
baron.
that's like a different.
Not
that's a
even
different
close.
voice.
Different voice.
So anyway, yeah, they see a baby covered in its own boom boom, and his mom, whose name I forget, his dad's name is Joshua. But Jake's mom picks Finn up as a baby and gives him a kiss, and then the line that I think is my favorite in the whole episode is
is the
Joshua
best one.
going, "Honey, you just kissed a boom boom baby, so don't expect any more sugar from me until you wash your dirty, dirty face." Yeah, it's great.
God, Jake's parents are so funny.
The delivery of that line is so funny.
It feels like their accent and the way they are just feels so out of place. I feel like they're trying to go like, oh, it's a flashback. They speak like an old 20s person from New York, but it's like
Yeah.
Finn's a teenager. It's not that long ago. It's probably like the 90s if anything. So he should have been talking about like corn or ska or something. I don't know. Is that 90s? Corn 90s? I feel like that's 2000s.
Corn
New
is-
metal? That's
Yeah,
more.
Corn was like late 90s, I think.
Yeah.
90s would be like, yeah, like Corn and Slipknot. 90s is like grunge.
Yeah, but I mean, new metal was also starting to show up, but like late 90s probably.
Yeah.
Because the 2000s is where you get all that.
You can hear all about this in our Corn podcast. That's Corn with a K. The podcast is Ears of Corn, a podcast
Yeah.
for corn listeners.
Yeah, it's ears because you listen with your ears.
And
corn.
corn has ears.
And we have unauthorized, the official unauthorized, authorized podcast of Corn.
Yep, that's
We
right.
only listen to Freak on a Leash. It's the only song we know.
Yeah, our official
Anywho.
Corn podcast. What did you notice in this episode?
I've already gone through all the stuff I noticed. I'm just at favorite quotes or jokes at this point.
Yeah.
I like, so very beginning, it's like their old tavern, you know, instead of drinking like ale or beer or something, they're drinking squid ink. Like, what? Is that good? Is that
Delicious.
something they should be drinking?
You ever
I don't know.
suck on a pen?
Yeah.
It tastes like that.
I like a good Bic pen.
Like the plasticky end. Ooh, no, it's all about those the G4s. Smooth
Oh.
like butter. Now that's a
Sorry.
pen.
I prefer to suck on Bic normally.
Yeah,
If I'm sucking, it's sucking on a Bic.
You're a big sucker.
I love suck. I like, so he gives the tragic backstory of how he cried and pooped and stuff, and the one Jake goes, he still cries when he poops, and man, I felt that because
That's relatable.
oh boy, is that relatable for you and I, especially you.
Oh yeah, no, it still
Yeah.
frequently hurts.
Yeah, I get it.
This podcast is sponsored by Preparation H.
It works.
Preparation H. It does its job.
It does its job.
You don't even need the name brands. This podcast is sponsored by CVS Generic Preparation H. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, we're in advertising.
Preparation H for after you've just eaten Arby's. It's good.
Preparation H.
Preparation H now in hot spicy chili flavor.
Preparation H for when you've just had hot spicy chili. I don't know. Like, I know we already talked about this episode once, and although those recordings are now lost media,
I lost media. Shut up.
we're gonna have some like lost media YouTube channel doing like, I don't know, they're all like so dramatic.
They're
like,
so
these are all these,
dramatic.
like haunted, cursed tapes, and I'm like, dude, it's a missing episode of SpongeBob. It's not even an episode. It's just like an old ad for SpongeBob.
It's also, it's like not even like truly lost. It's like we found it because we emailed the show creator who still had the file on his computer and he just gave it to us. I'm like, that's not lost. That's just unreleased. Like,
It was lost media, except that we found it on YouTube.
it's like Lost would be like all those episodes of Doctor Who that like
Yeah.
burned in the fire. That's just like, yeah, it may or may not exist anymore. Maybe a private collector has it, but nobody
there's,
knows.
Like
They've
lost
tried.
scenes from like old Universal movies because the film physically burned in like
Yeah.
a You put a bunch of very flammable film and you put them in a big warehouse and then it catches on fire. And then you lose a bunch of shit from like the early 1900s. Anyway.
I like when the mountain the mountain behind the mountain is just like, I love your beautiful back. And he almost doesn't even know there's a mountain behind him because he just goes, huh? What? Really? That line was just so funny to me.
I would imagine that big things have to talk slow.
Yeah.
Such as the nature of being large. You just move slower.
That it makes me think, like, every time you see, I don't know, like Godzilla, when you're watching a Godzilla movie and it's from the human's perspective, you always see their legs just go so slowly across the town. Like, they're not fast at all. And that's really, like, can't they walk at a normal pace or something? Like, why are they always so slow when they move?
Yeah, like, I mean...
In Attack on Titan, they move quickly.
In Godzilla X Kong, the like most recent
move quickly.
One, New Empire, you see Godzilla like running. Like,
yeah, they move quickly
there.
there.
Why is he just like lumbering through Tokyo?
In The Day the Earth Stood Still, the remake, not the original, Gort moves quickly, and he's pretty big.
I haven't seen it.
It's okay. John Cleese is in it for some reason, and really unnecessary. Like, okay. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was the original's way better.
I actually don't know if I've seen the original.
We watched it in Sunday school.
The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
It's when we were watching movies that relate, and we did it purely so we could watch Dogma in Sunday school. I remember Jenny Falwell was just like, I probably won't watch that one again because the poop scene in Dogma. Do you remember this?
I remember that. I don't remember watching The Day the Earth Stood Still. I don't know if I was there for that one.
Well, where would you have been?
I don't know. Doing other stuff.
Not praising the Lord by watching The Day the Earth Stood Still in Sunday school.
But specifically... Oh, it was the original? Because I have no
Yeah, we watched the original. Yeah. God,
Yeah,
Sunday school as seniors in high school was interesting because it was just us and Josh. So it's like we didn't really do anything. It was cool.
I have no memory of this. I don't remember.
That's okay. There's a lot going on that year.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I like the naked guy in the episode
Yeah,
because he doesn't really have a problem. He's naked and he seems happy about it.
He also seems happy when he's not naked. He just seems happy to exist. And that's the nature of being an old man.
And I think that's the real message of the episode is just be happy with what you've got. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know
That's not
what
really
you
a good
got
message.
till it's gone. Something
Yeah.
paradise, put up a parking lot. Bop, bop,
Bop, bop, bop, bop. Speaking of bop,
bop, bop.
I've had an idea for a
Transition.
a great transition. I've had an idea for like a bar. You get like a dive bar that hosts a night called Hanson Night. And they exclusively play Bop by Hanson the entire night. And it's like a fundraiser to say who can stay the longest. But I've got a great bar picked out and everything for it. That I'm like, okay, you guys would totally get into Hanson Night. I know you would.
What about Bop It? It's the Hanson sponsor, Bop It.
Twist it. Shout it.
Bop.
Bop
Bop,
it.
bop. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, honestly, do you have anything else? The ending is a little abrupt.
It's abrupt. It has that thing with the dolphin.
Yeah, much like the ending of this podcast. I was gonna go and end it. That would have been funny.
We can. We
No,
can.
the ending of this episode.
Put a laugh
is-
track there.
Yeah. The ending of the episode is quite abrupt, where they're just like, "Oh, this dolphin fell in love with me." That's the opposite of a problem. And then they're riding on a dolphin, and it ends. It just felt like they really just needed an out.
The ending could have ended on the Rube Goldberg, and it's like, wow, Finn, you made everybody happy. And it could have ended there, but they had to end on something nonsensical with a joke. And that's like the difference between The Simpsons and Family Guy, is The Simpsons knows it can just end on like a nice happy note. Family Guy always felt like it had to end on a joke. And sometimes it just felt abrupt, and that's kind of this episode suffers from that, where it could have just ended at a nice note.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, there was already so much in that episode to, like, do that whole thing. It's like 15 seconds. It's not even, if that. Like, it's very, very quick. And so it's like a super quick ending. I don't know. They got a dolphin and they ride dolphins. Sure.
Yeah. All right.
It's
it
fine.
ends.
Anywho, yeah, any closing
Overall,
thoughts?
really, really good episode. This
Yeah,
one's
good
still
one.
very
Good,
funny.
good,
I think
good,
we're not describing it like we did last time. Probably just because we've already talked about it for 30 minutes. So
Yeah, so we're kind of out of new things to say. Talked a lot more about Hanson this episode than the previous,
yeah. Last
recording.
one we didn't talk about Hanson at all, actually, if I recall.
which is a shame. That's what the people want.
Yeah,
And
but
the
they can
people
get more of
probably
that
want
on
us-
our Hanson podcast.
Yeah, the people probably want us to stop talking about this episode.
I do too.
All right, well,
Adventure Twin.